Nobody is alive who has actually suffered the hurt, and nobody is alive who did the wrong. And I'd make one other point, if I may. It's always the countries that people want to come to who are put through this struggle session. Britain, like America and France, are the most desired destinations for migrants worldwide and have been for centuries. Why is that? It's not because we're racist, it's because we're better.
Finally, somebody with some courage. This video is brought to you by Pure Talk, brought to you by Pure Talk USA. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking to save money on your cell phone bill. Look no further. Go to Pure Talk to find the greatest deals that I've ever seen. Think about this, $20 a month for a phone bill. Can you find it anywhere else, any other company? No, you cannot. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, plenty of 5G data on the most reliable network for $20 a month. Also, veteran-owned customer service right here in the United States of America. I have a Pure Talk phone. You can switch your phone and your phone number right over to Pure Talk and save today. Pure Talk saved the average family $900 a year. What are you waiting on? Dial pound 250 and say Brandon Tatum. That's pound 250 on your cell phone. Say Brandon Tatum or hit the link in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notification anytime I go live, make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I find it very refreshing. And I think it's funny because people find me refreshing and they're like, oh my God, thank you for telling the truth, man. We need more people to tell you the truth. I find courage and refreshment from other people who are bold and brave telling the truth. In many cases, when I hear minorities say it, I think to myself, thank God that I ain't the only one out here. But then also when I hear men who happen to be white or Caucasian or whatever you want to call it, and they step up in front of others and they step up in front of the woke mob and they say, enough is enough. I'm not gonna let you tell me that I'm a racist. I'm not gonna let you tell a false history. I'm not gonna let you do any of those things. I'm gonna tell the doggone truth. And if you don't like it, you don't like the truth. And it's your fault. But let me play this clip. This gentleman came on to Piers Morgan's show, which I think Piers Morgan does have a very fair show. He brings on people that have opposite opinions. And in many cases, I agree with Piers Morgan, or Piers Morgan actually agrees with the truth in many cases. So this is not something that's new. It says Black Americans are celebrating Juneteenth rather than July the 4th, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It should not even be the case because Juneteenth wasn't even the last remnant of black slaves anyway. People just say that because it makes them feel better about it. But the Choctaw Indians still own slaves. A year later, after the Juneteenth, slaves were released in Galveston, Texas. Now slavery had been over. They just had not. But they didn't believe. Black people had been going to Galveston, Texas, telling the blacks they were free. They didn't believe it until a white man came and told them they were free, and then they actually believed him. And then the slavery was, the remnant of slaves were finally freed, which wasn't even really true because the Choctaw owned them a year later. Anyway, let me play this clip because it was encouraging to hear somebody with common sense come out and just tell it like it is. Roll the clip.
Well, it's a kind of grievance competition. Your guest earlier just tried to engage in it. I don't know what hurt she believes she's had from slavery. All of this was addressed 2 centuries ago. Everything has consequences. All history has consequences and ramifications. But, you know, if we were to play this fairly, we would at least look at all of the countries around the world that engaged in the slave trade who are simply not interested in any form of reparations. The Ottoman Empire, all the Arab countries who not just traded far more slaves than across the Atlantic, but castrated all the men so that there wouldn't be any more African slaves after them. They worked them to the bone. I see no interest across Africa in paying reparations for selling their brother and sister Africans into slavery or for working them to the bone to the present day. There is slavery across Africa today. In fact, there are more slaves in the world today than there were at the height of the transatlantic slave trade. So some of us are simply a bit bored of hearing people ripping at closed wounds and then crying about their hurt or their presumed hurt, because everybody could do this. 1 million Europeans were stolen by North Africans over the course of decades of the North African Barbary pirate slave trade. Where would you end if you did that? The answer is you couldn't end, because nobody is alive who has actually suffered the hurt, and nobody is alive who did the wrong. And I'd make one other point, if I may. It's always the countries that people want to come to who are put through this struggle session. Britain, like America and France, are the most desired destinations for migrants worldwide and have been for centuries. Why is that? It's not because we're racist, it's because we're better. It's because we're good. It's because when we see racism, we actually call it out and recognize it as a sin. Try finding that across Africa. Try finding that across the Middle East or in China. Nobody would hear. So what we have is a situation where the more virtuous countries are presented as the worst countries. It's sick, and most of us are tired of it.
Boop! The mic has been dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the greatest articulations of the foolery that goes on. And I know we talk about this all the time, and this is one of the videos that I normally make, but y'all need to share this. Like, share that clip and tell people to watch that part of this video, because it is absolutely vital for us to stop letting these fools try to dictate to us what the world really is. Stop lying. You know, it's funny because when you watch the way they frame slavery and stuff, one would believe that the black man in Africa, which is the only place where slavery came from, is what people would believe. The black man in Africa used to love these other black people and made sure that they were eating and they were fed, and he loved them, and they lived in a house together, and they were happy families. All they did were some form of indentured servitude, and they sold them with this hope that they would go and get a better opportunity in America and all over the world. No, that's not what happened. If you know the truth about what happened, they were sold into slavery all over the world. They enslaved their own brothers and sisters, men that looked just like them. They didn't give a F. They enslaved them to enrich themselves, sent them all over the world. And white people were enslaved by Africans. Africans were enslaved by whites. You can go down the list. The Arabic countries still enslaving black people. And nobody want to talk about it. Black people are still enslaving other black people in Africa. They don't want to talk about it. You know, it's crazy to me that we fall for this foolery time and time and time and time again. And individuals with degrees, individuals who are supposed to be intelligent, are the ones that bother me the most. Because you guys have an opportunity of a lifetime to suffocate this fake outrage and division in our country and all over the world. But instead of using your platform and using your intelligence that you know to be true, to squish all of this bullcrap that goes on, you just flame the fire. You sit on panels and you know it's wrong, but you say it anyway. You sit on panels and know you've never experienced racism, but you claim that this is the most racist nation on planet Earth. You know you don't know nobody that has been a slave or owned a slave. And many of these people are married to white people. They act like white man bad, systemic racism, and then they married to white people. Then what are you even saying? They married to a white person pushing reparations. Well, honey, when you get your reparation check, y'all both got the check. If I get a reparation check, my wife got the check too. You ain't doing nothing but giving money back to white people. Okay. All right. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this video. Make sure you get your Pure Talk phone. See you on the next one.